Hello, this is Ajua with Beyond Infinite I Am, and many prosperous awakenings with in abundance onto you. I love you all so very much. Today, I want to talk about awareness and knowing, right? And how one may be able to coincide with the other, but they are not the same thing. And let me explain this to you because once I share the in depth and how important this is, hopefully, well, I know because my intentions are pure. So my intention is for you to take this and be able to elevate, right? And evolve different aspects of your life. Excuse me. So now, let me tell you the difference, right? When you have an awareness, it's almost like an awakening. But an awareness is when you have an understanding of it, right? You may have like a gut feeling or you're familiar with something. However, you don't know, right? And let me give you an example, right? Because once you begin to understand this, then it goes a little deeper. Once you begin to know, you begin to take action and you begin to change, right? So I give you an example of a person smoking cigarettes. Now, a cigarette smoker may have an awareness that you can catch cancer, right? Get cancer. Catch cancer, Lord. Get cancer. You may have an awareness that you are putting toxins in your body. You are aware, right? You may have an awareness that it's not good for you. But then let me tell you how deep the knowing is, right? Because when the average person who catches cancer from smoking always says, if I would have knew how bad cigarettes were, I'd have never smoked them, right? And a lot of times it's kind of unfortunate because knowing, unless you have clear cognitive, which is it's almost like a metaphysical knowing where you just know without having to go through the actual experience. Or sometimes you may have that experience within your coding, right? So they call it clear cognitive when you just know something. But a lot of times we have to go through the experience. And when you're actually going through the experience of cancer, right? The average cigarette smoker would not want to experience how the detriment of being in that state of mind, right? Can you imagine your mind is fully there but your body is deteriorating and you can't move? All from smoking, right? Can you imagine a hole having to be put through your throat and now you can't speak, so every time you speak you got to speak right here through a machine, right? Can you imagine these things? Can you imagine having something with you at all times? Like, most people can't, they don't know, right? They don't know that experience. So again, the awareness and the knowing, if you actually knew, you would not do it, right? Another example, a lot of people say they're on demon time, or a lot of people say, oh, you only live once, I'm gonna do this, right? Or I'm gonna do that. But if people actually knew when they stepped in such a lower vibration, there are entities around you. If you were able to see, we are aware that it may be lower things around us. See how the awareness comes? See how that plays a part? We're aware that we are in a lower vibration. So people say, oh, I'm on demon time, right? But if people can actually see the actual demons that may be around, I'm pretty sure you wouldn't be on demon time. It's just you have to step into this knowing. And it's like, how do you step into the knowing? Stepping into the knowing is empathy, sympathy, right? Step into the knowing without experience. Okay, let me correct that. How do we step into the knowing without having the actual experience so that we can change who we are? And we can elevate for a better self, right? Empathize. Sympathize. You know why? Because that consists of putting yourself in someone else's shoes. So going back to the Cancer piece, and I'm just using this for an example. This applies to so many other things in life, right? Imagine how it is to feel with having the actual disease itself, right? Then you would say, I love myself, right? I do not want to experience that. Another thing is self-love, right? When you love yourself at such a high magnitude, there are things that you refuse to go through, experience, understand. Okay, it's just certain things that you put it completely outside of you. You won't even something in my eye, y'all, or on my lashes. But you understand at such a great magnitude because you're elevating at such a high vibration that you know, right? You don't want to go through that. Healing your traumas, right? If you knew that because of your actions it caused a reaction, that reaction is something that you're not ready to face. Like I said before, if you knew the entities that were around you when you were doing certain things, or the thoughts that come to your mind when you're in this state, if you knew who and what was feeding these thoughts, right, you wouldn't do it. You would take control, right? Because what people don't know is that when people refuse to take control and take accountability and do the right things by themselves, other things will start to do the things for you. They will push your soul back and begin to take over. They will whisper in your ear. See, and this is why not drinking is very important, right? Because everybody love having drinks and everything, but you have an aura, right? Let's break this down. You have an aura. And a lot of people are familiar because, like me and many others, you can see certain auras, right? So we all have what we call auras. A lot of other people call them your body armor, because your aura protects you from a lot of things, from coming into your space, from disrupting you, right? And the minute you begin to drink, you begin to put holes in your aura. So that shield, that defense now becomes defenseless. And now you're able to be under attack, right? Same thing. So once you're on a lower vibration, like me, I was just explaining to somebody the other day, I don't have negative thoughts. Negative thoughts do not penetrate my mind. Every thought right now that comes to me, the voices I hear are only heavenly. Ajul, make sure you move this way. Ajul, make sure you do this. Ajul, make sure that this is like this. Yes, we are one. Yes, she is very beautiful, isn't she? I have only thoughts of elevation, right? Because I have worked very hard, and I'm going to be honest, because it wasn't easy. I came from trauma just like everybody else. I have worked very hard to get to a certain evolution, to a certain point of evolving, right? And I still try to be my best self every single day. But when you do not take control of who you are, right, you are now giving permission for somebody else to take control for you. And that somebody else, 9 times out of 10, is not the best thing to take control. Now, we do have heavenly things that take control. So if you are under attack, another part of your higher self will come in and say, you can't touch this one. You may have angelic forces that take over for you and say, no, you can't touch this one. You have your aura that vibrates so light that when darker energies see you, they like, oh, no, we can't mess with this one, right? But that's when you step into that knowing, right? So you got to know. You have to know. So important. So important to know. It's so important to know. Now, awareness is also important. But if that awareness is not enough to make you change who you are, then now we have to step into the knowing. Because awareness can be, well, I'm familiar. You know, I'm aware. This may or may not happen, right? But knowing says, yes, this is absolutely a fact, and this is happening right now, and it can actually happen. So now it's time for you to change and repent and thank the Most High and thank God and say, listen, I need to change my ways because I got a lot of things around me and it's not fun, right? I'm in a lower state of consciousness and I want to change for the better. I am going through this, and that. And I don't want to go through this anymore. I talk to so many people, and I always bring this up because if people only knew how strong energy was. See, now, this is a thing too, right? For people who don't drink, right? Or don't do drugs that penetrate your aura, right? You literally, you can still have, if you're on a lower vibration, you can still have something come in the vicinity of your aura, but not quite penetrate, right? Because when they penetrate your aura, they can tap inside of you, and that's where you get the hallucinations. This is where you get sometimes when people have to go to a psychiatric place because they can't control what's happening with their body and they can't control what they're seeing, and it goes to it goes too far. Now it's become out of their control, right? They're no longer in control of themselves. So when we go through this little process, right, we even though we're on a lower vibration, we can still have things come within the vicinity of our aura because our aura is not vibrating at its highest, right? And when it's not vibrating at its highest, that's when we hear the voices. That's when the voices come in. That's when we have the negative voices, because now we are on the same level. So though you do not give it enough power to enter you, where it controls you completely, it still can influence you. Let me say that again. Though it cannot enter you, it can still influence you. So you get the whispers. Oh, I don't like her. Oh yeah, don't like her. Don't like that girl over there. Don't like this person. Yep, pass them in line. Don't let them cut over. Right? You begin to hear the negative voices, right? And I did a meditation before, and this meditation was so phenomenal. And I was actually able to hear the voices. I went into a meditation and I started tapping into the different levels of frequency and vibrations. And I heard the most darkest and what you would call one of the darker, layer of voices, the demonic, and then higher and higher and higher and higher, and the sound and how beautiful the sounds begin to get, the higher the frequency, right? And it's like, we don't understand. See, depending on what frequency we're in, that's what universe we're in. Let me say this again. Depending on what frequency we're in, that's what universe we are in. Right here. Even though it may appear that we are all in the same realm, right? But we are not. Let me get this clear. It appears that we are all on the same realm, but we are not. See, for those who vibrate at this frequency may have these things coming at them. For those who vibrate at this frequency may have these things coming at them. For those who vibrate at this frequency may have these things come at them. I know because when I vibrate at a very high frequency, when people of the most demonic sources come to me, they listen, right? Another layer of them. They are no longer down here. The person that comes to me is here. Right? They're in a whole different dimension. Right? They're in a whole different reality. And it may sound crazy, right? But when you learn how this frequency works, you say, oh my gosh, the same person that's on a lower frequency that didn't get the job, all of a sudden you got the job and you didn't even try. Right? It's different. It's different. What they say is levels to this, right? It's levels to this. It's levels to this. And I heard a video one time and I didn't understand it at one point, right? I had to learn because I too learn. And I'm more of a learner through experience. I can meditate and go places. I purposely evolve myself so I can teach you how to evolve. right? Because it states, it's level, like I said, it's levels to this. I didn't wake up and say, oh, I'm the best person ever. You know, I woke up with traumas and everything else. You know, I had to fight, and I chose wrong paths, and I made the wrong decisions at some point. I wasn't always like, yes, let me do this. I didn't always hear the great voices. I heard the negative ones a lot too. At one point, I couldn't stop the negative. Why do I hear all these bad voices? Right? So it's very important to understand who you are, what level you're at, and then say, you know what? I want better for myself. I want to accomplish more. I want to be more. I want to live my soul purpose. Because awareness is where it starts. Like I said, they do coincide. See, that awareness is the first step. To be aware. You have to be aware and know what level you're in. You have to be aware of what triggers you. If you are not aware of what triggers you, then you don't know how to stop the trigger. If you are not aware of what makes you angry, you will continuously walk into people that make you angry. You will continue to walk into that same reflection over and over and over again. If you are not aware of what you are doing that's harming your body, there will be a consequence. If you are unaware that you are unaligned, you will continue to go through a series of consequences. This is why you have diabetes. This is why people have diseases. This is why people go through what they go through. See, but then that awareness has to turn into a knowing. Let me say this again. That awareness has to turn into a knowing. Because if that awareness does not turn into a knowing, you always go backwards. Let me say this again. If that awareness does not turn into a knowing, you go backwards, right? Your decision making is not always the right decisions. Your choices are not always the right choices because you're like, oh yeah, I'm aware. But it's almost as if it's a possibility that it may not happen. But see, when you are in the knowing, you tap into a higher vibration. You tap into the love vibration when you step into the knowing. Right? And again, that knowing comes with the self-love. That knowing comes with the empathy. That knowing comes with the sympathy. That knowing comes with a certain emotion. And when you tap into that certain emotion, you're like, oh no, I'm not doing that. Or you're going to say, oh yes, I'm doing that. Yes, I'm praying every day because I love myself. Yes, I'm meditating every day. Yes, I am aiming to get higher. Yes, I love this, and that because it's a reflection of me, right? And we are a reflection of each other, right? When they say you love yourself so much, you love everyone else, that's how it works. It doesn't work the other way around, right? So we really have to understand that knowing is key. Awareness is beautiful. But once you become aware, it is time to start knowing. And once we step into the knowing, you're forced to be reckoned with, right? You are forced to be reckoned with. Thank you. I say this with the most purest and beautiful intentions. May you receive this through all of your level of selves, especially your higher one. Okay? May this reach whoever needs it, whatever needs it. Okay? I love you. Much abundance unto you. If you love or like what I said, please hit like, click on the video, share it, do as you please because I love y'all. Many prosperous awakenings unto you. Peace.